Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of 14.71 Racing Network. Today we're going to be getting the mower ready to go racing tomorrow. We just got a little bit of stuff to finish up and we will be ready. So the first order of business is going to be to get these fenders pulled back off of here, and I'm going to measure up the wheel hub and the sprocket hub so that way we know how far they are from the end of the axle, so they all go back in the same place. Everything will be lined up nice and we will be within maximum width for the rules. So, without further ado, let's get to work. Those come off nice and easy when they're not bolted. Okay, so the first order of business will be to measure from the face of this hub out to the end of the axle, just to make sure we put the hub on in the same place. When we get that hub off, we will do the same for this one, for the same reason. So we are at about 2 3/4, just shy of 2 3/4. We'll call it 2 3/4, close enough. So we will loosen up the bolt on this hub, one that goes through here, and see what it's going to take to get it off of there. We might actually clean up the end of this axle first because these can hang up real bad and be almost impossible to get out of there. So we will probably just jump into a time lapse from here. So if you're wondering why I decided to take this off, the keen-eyed among you have probably already noticed, it's actually cracked right where that bolt goes through. So we're going to go ahead and change that because that's probably about ready to shatter on me and spin and destroy my keyway and probably destroy my sprocket while it does it. So yeah, that might even be part of our problem as to where that wobble was coming from in the sprocket. So hopefully we can slam her back together with a new hub in here. We got a brand new one, you guys will see in a second. As a matter of fact, this piece is so broke yeah, that piece is actually so broke that it falls right out of there when you pull the bolt out of there. And we don't want that happening on the track. That would be a less than ideal situation. We're going to go ahead and put a new hub on it because of that. You guys will notice that we're actually going to be using the same sprocket. The reason for that is I'm going to be putting a sprocket guard on this. I believe it's actually the tire acting as a derailleur. After talking to my builder, that seems to be the most likely issue. So we're going to put a sprocket guard on this as soon as it comes in. I'm just waiting for it to come in. And hopefully that stops our chain flying off issue. In the meantime, to figure out for sure what the chain issue actually is for sure, I'm going to put a GoPro back there. I've got a whole bunch of GoPro mounts you guys will see in a little bit. Hopefully we'll be able to rig up a mount that'll keep the GoPro safe and be able to show us why the chain keeps coming off the sprocket. Okay, let's give this whole axle a good clean up so all the new hubs and everything go on nice and easy. Okay, let's get this sprocket pulled off the old hub and get it cleaned up and get it mounted to the new one. So there's our sprocket. Don't count the teeth. You're not allowed to know. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, there's our sprocket. Gonna get it cleaned up, mount it on the new hub, and I'll jump back with you guys when we're throwing it on the machine. So, with the power of some YouTube magic, let's get that sprocket mounted on the new hub and cleaned up. And just like that, it's done. Let's put it on the machine. Okay, so I opted to mount the sprocket this way, with the deeper part sticking towards the inside of the machine. I may regret that later. My thinking is that the way these spokes in here are bent, they're probably going to want most of the pull to be against the turn instead of with the turn. I imagine them just kind of folding up if I put too much torque on them that way. We'll see how it turns out. We'll see if I have enough room to line it up there. If I don't have enough room to line it up there, I will just have to turn the sprocket around. Hopefully I don't have to do that because I think this hub wants to be this way. Let's get it on there. Okay, so as usual, my battery management was terrible. It's race day. I made a little bit of progress last night, I believe, from what you guys saw. Not exactly sure where the battery died, but we are going to jump back into it today and get it absolutely ready to go racing. I don't think it's going to be too bad. So, the sprocket and sprocket hub are on. It needs to come out just a little bit. It is running a little bit too far inboard. Other than that, it's good to go. Just need to put the wheel hub back on, measure my wheels to make sure the width is legal, and then we're going to be working on the motor. Got a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of wiring to do up there. Okay, we'll just get this chain cleaned up and do the final install on it, get the tensioner installed, and we will carry on to the engine work. Okay, so we got it all cleaned up and shiny gold again. Gonna get it put on the mower and go ahead and oil it while it's on the mower. I think that'll be the easiest way to do it. Okay, let's get the tensioner in place. It will help the chain ride a little better while we're trying to lube it up. Time for the fenders to go on. Bolt those up, stick the wheels on, carry on. Mounted my fenders in the wrong hole at the back, and as much as I like that tuck, that's probably not going to work out for us for race season, so let's get that swapped. So the chain on the secondary drive is all together and tightened. Might be a little bit tighter than I want it, but I'm going to run it like that for right now. It'll probably loosen up as I run it a little bit. If it doesn't, we'll back the tensioner off a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and work on the primary, and then we're going to go ahead and get it all plumbed, wired, get the battery put in, and we might just take it for a little bit of a test lap around the yard if you guys want to see that. I know you guys do. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put the chain and tensioner on the secondary drive. I have noticed that this sprocket back here is a wee bit loose. That is a less than bueno situation, so we're going to go ahead and tighten that up. put another set screw in there. I think one of the set screws came flying out while we were going around the track at some point. And that'll be about it for the primary drive. So a neat little trick for master links on chains is to take a little dab of silicone, like that, and just press it into the groove on your master link. Just to give it a little bit of extra hold, but not affect the chain. Let's go ahead and install this tensioner. Bushing in it feels good. Now that we've got the tensioner on there, let's go ahead and tighten up this set screw, because I wanted to make sure everything was pulled tight, and then I'm going to set up that set screw right where it wants to be. Just want to make sure everything was pulled tight and straight, and then I'm going to set that set screw right where it is so everything's where it wants to be. Okay, let's get our exhaust mounted up. Okay, so we got the exhaust on. Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to loosen it back up because it's gotta come off to get at that spark plug, which is a little bit annoying, but that's part of racing. Other than that, we've got the fuel line plumbed up here. We are going with the old catch can because I've been too lazy to actually set up the new ones. So we're going with the old catch can. It's got a tube that runs from the crankcase breather down to there, and then it's got a vent tube that will run out the back of the mower just to clear any oil of the tires. So the next order of business will be tying up that catch can, tying up all our lines, making it look all nice and neat and tidy like we know what we're doing. And then we'll run that main vent line back to the back. Other than that, we're going to change spark plugs, wire up the dash and the switch up there, and that should be pretty much it. Should be ready to race. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our catch can bottle mounted up in place, and then we'll work on the lines from there. Okay, let's get our Micron mounted up here. I already got all my wiring run, just gotta mount the actual computer itself. And then run my tachometer wire so I know how fast the engine's spinning. So the main two purposes of this computer here are to give me the speed that the engine is spinning and the temperature the exhaust is coming out of the exhaust port. That helps me tune it, but this also gives me lap times as well as G-forces and a whole bunch of other information I haven't even delved into yet. So it's a pretty awesome little computer for the size of it. Get our wiring tied up, get our tachometer wire on there, and battery, fuel tank, hood, and she's ready to go racing. Always cut your zip tie tails, people. I guess I shouldn't forget to put engine oil and the engine oil filter on there. That could be quite catastrophic for this whole scenario if I don't. So one of the wonderful little tricks of this motor is that this exhaust, which I got secondhand, doesn't really fit that well. So I've got to loosen it off to get my spark plugs out, which is a bit of a pain, but that's racing. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Get the front spark plug changed, tighten these up, get the back spark plug changed, battery in, fuel tank on. That should be just about it, other than our covers. Okay, now we just got the oil filter to put on down there, fill it up with engine oil, put the battery on, put the fuel tank on. She should run, hopefully. Okay, we're going to get the battery mounted up in place here. We'll take it off the charger. I gotta grab a different screwdriver. Okay, so we got a new switch mounted in here. Just gotta go ahead and wire it up, and then I'll test my fuel pump after I get my fuel tank in there. And should be just about ready to test fire it. First order of business will be to put this connector on the end of there to go to that switch. Okay, test number one, just gonna crank it for a little bit to try and get the oil up to the top end. Give that a minute and check the oil level. Okay, what I genuinely thought was gonna be a couple hours of work turned out to be about a 5.5 hour slog. So we are going to put the wheels on her, load her up, and head out to the racetrack. I will catch you guys out at the racetrack, and hopefully it's going to be a good day of racing. All hooked up, lights work. Let's get the mower loaded up. Okay, so we have the back wheels on. Sorry I didn't film that, just in a little bit of a hurry. I am incredibly late right now. I'm going to throw the front wheels on, going to throw the hood on. We're going to get it loaded up. I hope it runs when we get there. We haven't tested it yet, so that's where we're at with that. Let's go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are out here at the track, incredibly late, so I'm going to be kind of rushing here. You guys won't get a lot of pre-race. I'm going to start this thing up, see if it runs. Yeah, I'm going to see if mine runs, and then see if it drives, and then see if we can't win a race with it. Maybe. Okay, so I got the mower ready, got here, got suited up. I was definitely late. They were going to hold it off for me. We got a really good club out here, Western Ontario Outlaws. Shout out to you. But unfortunately, Mother Nature did not play nice with us, and it poured rain. And as you can see, the track is just too slick to race on. So, I'm sorry you guys didn't get the race content that I thought you would today, but if you liked the build video that you saw, then like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next one, and I'll see you in the next one.